What up, everybody? This is your Cosmic Homegirl, and I'm doing a forecast for all signs. For everybody, what is the astrological weather like for the week starting February 9th of 2020 and ending on February 16th of 2020? We are in the middle of Mercury's retrograde cycle. Okay, and I know you guys are reading, but Mercury retrograde doesn't start until the 17th. Listen, we are in the shadow period. Okay, the shadow period is when Mercury is beginning to slow down. So he is not normal right now. Okay, he's a little crazy still right now. So if you guys notice, there's still an increase in typos and errors in communication, people sending texts to the wrong people, your device is messing up, people's phones being lost or the screens being broken, their cars breaking down. Like, all this stuff is still happening. Okay? So Mercury is in its retrograde cycle in the month of February in the sign of Pisces. So if you want to know how that affects you personally, I do recommend that you go to my website, which is indigomoon.astrology.com. And I have 2020 horoscopes for your sign. That's for the entire year. All right. So Mercury goes retrograde 3 times a year. And it's going to be retrograde in the sensitive ass water signs once again, just like in 2019. But they are going to be a little different. So I do tell you how if all 3 Mercury retrograde cycles affect you based on your sign. Okay, so those are on my website, indigomoon.astrology.com. Look in the description box, and I do have a link to the page to where you can order one of those. And also, Venus is going to go retrograde in a couple months. Mars is going to be retrograde for like half of the freaking year. We've got eclipses popping off. Like, oh my God, if you guys want to know how all that affects you, I go in on that. Okay, you know your girl can talk and give a lot of info. So anyhow, this week, what's the weather like? We're coming off of a full moon in Leo. Okay, so full moons are when the sun and moon oppose each other. They have an intense conversation. They're kind of popping off at one another, and then the tension breaks, and then something has to give, and then something changes. So you guys may have seen or experienced or felt the effects maybe even days before the full moon happened, early in the wee hours of the night, or maybe even, in the days or even the weeks following, you may see some sort of effect of the full moon in Leo. And I did talk about it last week, so I'll only touch on it a little bit because we are still kind of within that energy. I've noticed a lot of like quotes and a lot of different things. Excuse me. Oh my God. Sorry. I noticed like a lot of different quotes and stuff popping up that made me think about the full moon in Leo and like the message, like people pretty much not taking any BS. Leo is a sign that is very sassy, very regal, very much into themselves in some ways, but also it's like standing up for yourself. Like, no, I don't deserve that. Or I deserve this. I don't deserve to be treated like that, because you think of yourself as like royalty. You have a high, what's the word I'm looking for? You look at yourself as a high value person. The Leo energy, that's what it's about, right? It's about your self-esteem. It's about having confidence. So some people I was thinking about that on the full moon in Leo. Let me know what you guys have had like realizations about, this very Leo like. I did have some, when I did my full moon prayer, during that time of the full moon, I did my little prayer, light my little candles, my little crystals and incense and all that hippie stuff that I do. And I was like, I did have an epiphany of like, you know what? I don't deserve this, and I do deserve this. Okay. And I always say that phrase and that mantra for Leo because I've told you guys time and time again, one of my bestest friends ever, forever. She's been one of my BFFs since we were kids. She's a Leo moon. And she always says that. Like, she doesn't say that, but I remember specifically when we were both single at once upon a time at the same time. And she was like, oh, I got this guy. He wants to take me out. And this guy's paying for this. And this guy's buying me this. And meanwhile, I'm like getting all these losers, like always, that are just like, why can't you do it yourself? So I'm like, how are you getting these guys to pay pay for things and buy you things. Like, I don't I'm not set up like that. I don't understand how to get that, you know? And she said, well, basically, I just let them know right off the bat. I tell them I deserve to be taken here and I deserve to be bought this and that. And I was like, really? You actually just say that? You actually just come out and just say that to these fools? Like, really? And she said, yeah. And I'm like, wow. Look, the way I was raised was a little different. Look, I'm not going to get into all that, but that's something I had to learn. I learned a lot about the Leo-isms from my Leo moon BFF. So she always said, well, I deserve, and I don't deserve this. And so that's why I always use that as an example of Leo energy, because it's true. They could be a little sassy, a little bossy, you know, a little too demanding and, you know, stuff like that. But if you know Leo people, or if you are a Leo person, you understand what I'm talking about. Don't use it to the extreme to where you're like, you know, just being outrageous and full of drama for no reason, and you're like expecting things that you really didn't earn just because you're you know. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about really looking at who you truly are, what you give, and are you because Leo's about the heart. Like, are you give from your heart, but are you receiving back, you know? Or are you giving too much from your heart, you know? And just things like that could be coming up. And yeah, self-esteem, valuing yourself and all of that, right? So we're still within that energy of the full moon in Leo. Okay. What else? I think I talked about Venus conjunct Chiron last week, but you know, my memory is not all that great when I have so much going on. So I apologize if I'm saying anything repetitive, but listen, this transit, I'm not going to lie, because I am recording this after the 9th, whatever. You guys know me and my life. Okay. But I do talk about things. That's why I say it's like the cosmic weather, the astrological weather, like what's in the air right now? What are we all feeling and going through? And I do like to talk about it not too far ahead in the game, because I like to talk about how this energy feels like for real, what we are experiencing as human, like in the human experience energetically, what's real about this, not just, well, this plus this equates to this according to this book and data. No, like, what are we really going through here? So this Venus conjunct Chiron, it's been tough. Okay. It's been tough. You know, I've talked to friends. I've, you know, had people confide in me, like always. I have Chiron in the 7th house, which is counseling and people just pouring out their problems to you. So it's just naturally something that happens a lot. So I usually have a lot of examples to give from others, because others do just naturally confide in me, besides, you know, my astrology clients. So, you know, I did have friends hit me up over this period where this was very close, like over the weekend, and spill the drama, spill the tea, and tell me how they're feeling and vent to me and stuff. And yes, this has been a little tough and rough. I'm not going to lie. I will, of course, give you guys the good and bad, and not just say, oh, this is terrible, and then just keep it moving and just accept that it's terrible. Now, Venus, it represents relationships, love. It can also have to do something with like you valuing yourself, your self-esteem, self-worth, your looks, vanity, you know, do you think you're cute or you're handsome or you're pretty or whatever? The Venus has something to do with that. It rules money, the material world, the value and worth of things around you, how much money you earn, you know, are you getting what you deserve as far as how much you get paid for what you do for a living? Can be Venus ruled. Relationships, yeah, love, past, present, future, whatever. Self-love, love of others, relationships, okay? Venus rules all that stuff. So Chiron is called the wounded healer, quote unquote. So it's like, I always say it's like a soft spot or like a bruise. Like you've been hit there before and maybe it's still a little soft. You know, like if somebody hits you there again, it can likely bruise again and hurt again. And it's where you can repeatedly be hurt in life. And over time, you could become tougher in that area, but there's still like a little remnants of a little bruise there. Or it could be like something you put a bandage over. And sometimes the Band-Aid gets ripped off before the wound is fully healed, and then you gotta like work with it even more to heal it some more, stuff like that. That's what Chiron can be like. So it could be not just like, not physical, but stuff that you go through in life, to where, say for example, you have Chiron in an area that does rule like relationships, like your 7th or your 5th house or your 8th or something, relationships are continuously in life going to be an area to where you can be easily wounded, but also you can be a healer when it comes to that stuff, because you've experienced the pain, you've experienced the good and the bad, you've experienced probably some of the worst and deepest, darkest pain. Therefore, you're able to, and you live through it and you heal from it, and your experiences, even though they kill you on the inside, like you're able to talk to others about it and know their pain too, and maybe advise them, even though your love life may be shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've been through that shit to be able to tell other people, yo, I've been through some things, so I relate to you and I know what you're talking about, and this is what I've learned, and give them advisement. You know what I'm saying? So that's Chiron. So when Venus comes into contact with it, let me tell you personally, and then just like others venting to me, or me reading things online from others expressing themselves, yes, a lot of pain has come up that has to do with relationships and whether or not people truly value you. You know what I'm saying? Do people really respect you? Do they value you? The things that you do for them, do they appreciate you? So that has come up a lot. And some people were feeling the pain of like reviewing and revising, because remember, we are in Mercury retrograde period. Okay, retro is going back, Mercury's the mind. Reviewing and revising relationships of the past, and like where you've suffered, in that area. Well, this person treated me like this, and it made me feel like this, and da da da. Yes, all of that has come up. And I did have one friend who went through the classic Mercury retrograde and Mercury in shadow thing, to where the ex came back, and then they gave the ex a chance, and some more destruction and pain happened. And now they're like venting to me every day about this pain they're going through, because the ex came back and it was brief, which that's why I'm always cracking jokes, and sharing memes, but also will tell you guys some serious things about like some warnings about the exes coming back during Mercury retrograde. It's more than likely, there's a higher chance of it not working out. It's not 100% just doom and gloom, but the probability of it not working out, it being short-lived, it is higher, unfortunately. You know what I'm saying? And I hate to burst in people's bubbles, because a lot of people that out there, they have hopes that that person will come back changed, that everything will just be paradise, and you'll hold hands and smell daisies together, about your ex. But when it's Mercury retrograde or Venus retrograde, any Mars retrograde especially, the chances are that things may have changed a little bit, but maybe not completely, or something's not completely healed, So yeah, that classic scenario did happen to one of my close friends, and the reunion, the reconciliation of it all was very short-lived, and it ended in pain over the weekend, because Venus relationships is conjunct Chiron, which could be pain. So now they're like, oh my God, I'm in pain again, and why did I let them back in to hurt me, and da da da. So I heard that story, and I heard a couple other stories or whatever from people, or this could just be in memory, like us remembering stuff of someone who hurt us. And like, I could be very strong, you know what I'm saying, and I'm very spiritual, but even I had some of those thoughts and things creep back up on me. And actually, should I say this? How could I put this in a vague Scorpio way? This conjunction is really strong right now, and I did have an opportunity to possibly be in the presence of someone I have dealt with in the recent past, to where there was like a, you know what I'm saying, like something that wasn't cool, but and maybe it could have been an opportunity to heal that situation, but I passed on it. I'm a Taurus. Hey, earth signs, we pour ourselves into work to avoid emotional stuff, so but the thoughts about it were there, and I did think about, this could be an opportunity And what if that opportunity was presented to me? How would I feel about it? What would I do? What would I say? So it could just be things like that happen. Not necessarily everybody's going to run into an ex, or an ex is going to pop up and call you or DM you or anything like that. It could just be opportunities that you pass up, or another person pass up, or just something in your mind. Like, you just think about it. And yeah, Pisces energy is about forgiveness, unconditional love, selflessness, and sacrifice. So people can be a little more apologetic during this time, and some of them may make some promises, because this is in a conjunction with Neptune, and this is mutable. And to be quite honest with you guys, the mutable signs could be tricky and deceptive when vibrating on a lower vibration, or people are tapping into it and using it for manipulative reasons. Mutable energy can be like that sometimes. So I did hear an example of somebody around me who someone came back through using apologies and, forgive me, and I'll do this for you and that for you, and then they just turned around and were manipulative again and deceptive again. And that resulted in pain. So, just be careful out there, you guys. Like, if people come back around with their apologies and I want to reconcile, I want to try again, seriously reconsider things, think about things, or just say, can we hold this off until like maybe mid-March? You know what I'm saying? Or the end of March or the beginning of April, to fully get out of this period of uncertainty and having a lack of clarity, because Mercury's not, he's just doing the most right now, like doing too much for the next month and a half. Okay. If you can, tell that person to wait. And if they can't wait, well, I don't know what to tell you. But if you guys do decide to do anything, hey, everybody here, I'm sure we're all adults. We make our own decisions. We have free will. But just be cautious. I've been hearing a lot of stories. Okay, real life stories. And yeah, from experience and feeling, I can tell you that this was, over the weekend, kind of painful for like memories and stuff coming back, and thinking about stuff like, am I good enough? And how come, it seems like people don't value me, and why, that stuff has come up, for sure. And also, issues with money. Maybe if you don't really make the amount of money that you would like to, maybe this has you feeling some type of way about it. But rather than just wallow in all this pain, you guys, about your relationships, about people not valuing you, about your material world, if it's not going the way that you want it to be going right now, and wallowing in the pain of Venus and Chiron, take it as an opportunity to look at ways to turn it around, or to heal from things, or whatever. It's not all gloom and doom, and it's not all suffering. Okay, it is what we make it to be. All right. So just hang in there, because yeah, this is still lingering. This is on February 9th, it's here. February 10th, pretty much throughout the week, it'll start to separate. Venus will separate itself by moving ahead of Chiron, progressing through the sign of Aries. It'll move away, but it's still in a conjunction. It's still picking up on Chiron's energy. So, and also, I know it's Valentine's Day this week, or Valentine's, like some people like to call it. Ugh, you guys know I got a clown. But so a lot of people may be feeling like they want to heal relationships, because they want somebody on Valentine's Day, and they may think about taking back a toxic ex or something like that, just to have somebody on that day. Or those exes may come back around because they're lonely, and they want to use Valentine's Day as an excuse to try to make up for their BS and la 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 la, blah 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 blah. So that could be going on too for some of us this week. Okay, so just be aware. Do what you want to do, but just be aware that this could be going on, and this can make single people feel some type of way about being single, because Venus is about partnership and love. So singles can be like, oh, nobody's asked me on a date for Valentine's Day yet. Oh my God, I'm ugly and nobody loves me. Life is over. And, some people could be feeling like that. Extra hard with this conjunction. It does suck, you guys. I am not going to front. It sucks. But just don't let it get the best of you. Just be aware. Okay, to be forewarned is to be forearmed, right? The homegirl Laura at livevisions.com, she has tarot and astrology too. And she was kind of a mentor of mine when I was first starting out. So big shout out to Laura. She always says that. And, you know, I'm not trying to be a biter or anything, but like she always says that. So I kind of have to credit a fellow, you know, reader on that, always saying that in her videos too. But she's absolutely right. To be forewarned is to be forearmed, for real. Okay. So if you know about it, you could be conscious of it and be like, you know what, this too shall pass, because Venus is going to continue to move away from Chiron, and it won't be as bad, you know? So anyway, it's an opportunity to heal, not just to suffer. All right. So just keep that in mind. And I'm definitely taking my own advice on this, because your homegirl has been going through it as well. You know, I'm human too, believe it or not. Sometimes I'm maybe half human, because I have Uranus in my first house. If you guys know what that means, I have a little alien in me too, but I still have emotions, and I've been right there with you guys if you have been feeling any type of way. Okay. But we can get through it. We can get through this week, you guys. Okay. So now let's talk about the moon. Now, for the most part, just to be honest with you guys, most of this week, really the transits that I have to talk about are the moon phases. Until we get to the end of this week, then we're going to have some other shifts that are going on, and I'll get to that in date order. But we do have the moon in Virgo the first few days of the week, Sunday, Monday, and part of Tuesday, the 11th. Okay. Moon in Virgo days are excellent for getting your life together, meaning cleaning, organizing, detailing, doing your taxes. Yo, I was all up in, like, I was so locked into doing my taxes under this moon in Virgo, for real. And I felt being more efficient and taking things step by step in order, more organized with my work duties at one of my main job. You know what I'm saying? So it's really good energy for that. Really good energy for any type of work, whether you're in a workplace or you work for yourself or home. Your home is your workplace, meaning like you're like a homemaker. Like you got stuff to do around the house. You got laundry. You got going through all the mail and shredding it, little duties like that. Moon and Virgo days are really dope for that. They can be days to where people feel highly critical of themselves and others, okay, nitpicking and all that stuff. So just try not to do that. Oh my God. Gardening, doing things with nature, dealing with like herbs, reviewing your routines and your diet and your exercising and all that is good to do during Moon and Virgo days. We are more motivated to be organized. Doesn't matter if you're a Virgo or not, you'll be feeling it. People, yes, it could be critical and judgy AF during the Moon and Virgo, like really looking at people like, oh my God, what's their problem? Oh, look, they had a typo there. Oh my God. Listen, let me tell you guys about something that happened during the Moon and Virgo, a prime example of this. So we all know Mercury is in its retrograde period, right? Retrograde cycle. So I do a little work in radio, okay? And I had to deal with a caller, a listener, who the on-air talent kind of what did they do? They messed up and they made an error with the prizes that they gave away. So we had to go back and correct it and call everybody who won and say, you know what, actually, we're sorry, but the on-air personality got it wrong and we're correcting the problem. You actually won, yada, yada, blah, 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 blah. So this lady just called and went in. Oh my God. Like I legit had a headache, you guys. Like I'm not even playing. This lady gave me a headache going round and round and round and round about how the on-air talent made a mistake and they shouldn't have made a mistake. And why did they make this mistake? And this is like, it was just so irritating. I'm like, yo, is this woman a Virgo? Because I want to throw the motherfucking phone right now. And Virgo energy can make people complain up the ass. So yeah, and I really wanted to scream at this lady a few times. It's Mercury retrograde, lady. Get over it. We make mistakes. Everybody's making mistakes right now, especially people who are Mercury ruled, which are people who talk. Okay? Talk on the radio, talk on podcasts, talk online, talk whatever. If your communication is a part of your job, Mercury retrograde is going to make you F up a little bit. Okay? There's more potential for that. But then you go back and you correct the mistake. Okay? So that's what we're doing. So get over it. So anyway, yeah, this lady kept going in like, oh, you need to correct it this way, and this was wrong, and she said this, but she should have said this. Blah, 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 blah. So yeah, Moon and Virgo energy. You guys, please just don't be complainers, and just remember that Mercury is retrograde. So if people make errors and mistakes and typos, do not treat them like they're a dumbass, like Virgo energy can really make people do. Okay. So anyway, moving along, what else is going on? So then on the 11th, the moon switches into Libra. It could be the 12th if you're more in an eastern part of the world. Yeah, the moon goes into Libra, and the vibe, the mood, of it all is the moon. So the mood switches from nitpicky Virgo, making us all anal and nervous, okay, into Libra, which is about partnership, relationships, getting along with people, compromise. You don't want to do anything without a partner to do it with, stuff like that. And Libra energy is into aesthetically pleasing things. So, it's good days to like go shopping if you want to, if you're able to go shopping, shop online, shop wherever, look at art, create things too, because we do have Mercury. It's inching towards Neptune, Mercury and Neptune together in Pisces. Mercury, skills of the hands and of the mind. And then Neptune, it rules Pisces and it's in Pisces. So it's like double that creative Pisces energy. And Libra energy is it has an eye for things that are beautiful, and like mostly an eye for it, but also ears too, or whatever. So good day for art. Moon and Libra days paired with this energy too. Art, and whether it's enjoying art or creating it, just wanting to do beautiful things, like go to a spot. Like a lot of people I know, like I keep talking about it, but I don't make a big deal about it, but everybody else does, and I am talking for the people, advising the peoples. So Valentine's Day, excuse me. Valentine's Day is near, and so if you want to prepare, it's good days for being in a lovey-dovey mood when the moon is in Libra, and like thinking about the other, thinking about your boo, thinking about somebody you're partnered with romantically, and like, oh, what can I get them and what can I do for them, and oh, they may like this, and or oh, I want to look good for them on Valentine's Day, so I am going to start preparing by going on, to get my nails done, or to get a haircut, or to buy this outfit, whatever. Moon and Libra days leading up to that they are perfect, right? Perfect for that. But just in general, good days to enjoy art, good days to be partnered up, booed up, or just to be very social, be very sociable and pleasant towards others. Okay, so moon is in Libra the 11th, the 12th, and then the 13th. Hello, planetwatcher.com, get your life. Okay, the 13th, it could be the 14th in the eastern parts of the world. The moon switches into Scorpio. So we are starting to get into the mood for Valentine's Day. Okay. So if you are going to celebrate in any type of way, whether you're single and you're out on the prowl on that night, you're trying to find your little Valentine or whatever, or you do have somebody or something lined up or whatever, Moon and Scorpio days are beautiful for intimacy, for connecting with people. Now, that's all I'm going to say about that, because I do have a video that I made specifically for Valentine's Day. Okay, and it tells all about the energy of that day. I break it all down for you guys. And also which signs are the luckiest in love that day based on the planetary positions. Okay, so make sure you guys go check out that video. It should be the one before this on the list of videos on my YouTube page. So Valentine's Day for all the signs. And also in on my Instagram, in my stories, I'll share memes and crack jokes and stuff like that. But I have been trying to keep up with posting some stuff about love and compatibility and astrology, and also like tarot and love. I started doing stuff like that. I'll do my best to continue it throughout the week. And you can find those on Instagram on my highlights that are labeled tarot and also learn astrology. Okay. I have some stuff on there if you're interested about live. But the energy of Valentine's Day itself is definitely going to be very passionate, very romantic, because we've got water, we've got fire, you know, it's just dope energy. Okay. But the moon switches into Scorpio, and just in general, moon and Scorpio days, the mood is, I always think of The Weeknd, and I know I always say this, and I know I always talk about him because I'm like a really big fan of him. But The Weeknd, he's a Scorpio moon, and his moon is conjunct Pluto in Scorpio, so that intensifies the Scorpionic energy, and that's why his music is the way it is. So I picture the mood is very like, you know, just The Weeknd's music is playing in the background pretty much. We're not all like on a pole or anything, you know, but I mean, just that's the mood, right? Is his music, okay? The darker, older mixtapes. I'm gonna be a hipster and say that the 2010 version of The Weeknd, Scorpio moon days are just that. Our mood and our attitude can be a little more introverted, introspective, thinking deeply about things. Our BS radars and our inner lie detectors, so sharp and on point. So people just don't even try it, okay? And moon and Scorpio days, people may be more in the mood to watch like horror movies, just on the dark side of life, you know? Welcome to the dark side. Like that's kind of how the mood and the attitude can be on moon and Scorpio days. What else about moon and Scorpio days? They, like I said, they are dope for intimacy, but people can be a little more like, you know, if they're bitter and vengeful and stuff like that, that energy can come back. I'm not gonna lie. People could be seriously in their feelings, especially on Valentine's Day. The moon continues to be in Scorpio. It's in full effect in Scorpio. Hello. It's like right smack in the middle of Scorpio on Valentine's Day. So, people can be a little more brooding and vengeful. People may be more like inclined towards doing stuff to their exes if they're in their feelings about love on Valentine's Day. I don't recommend that, even though I'm a Scorpio rising, but hey, whatever. I can't control you guys, but just a fair warning. It can bring out that feeling, you know? What else with moon and Scorpio days? You know, some people may be in the mood to go out, but some people may not with this moon phase. And then Mercury and Neptune together in watery Pisces. Water energy is very introverted. So some people may be preferring to stay in, you know. But we do have the fire. We've got Mars in fire. We've got Venus in fire. Ooh, just a poppin' day, man. Whether you celebrate the Hallmark holiday or not, it's just a poppin' day. So what else can I say about the moon in Scorpio? Good days for doing stuff that does have to do with taxes as well, because Scorpio does rule that. And just, you know, money and belongings that are shared. Scorpio rules that too. And just kind of working things out, figuring things out with that. But yeah, the vibe is very like, let me just kick back with my shades on, with my lokes on, and just stand against the wall and observe, you know. And some people may just feel like observing others rather than going after them with this energy. But hopefully, if anybody out there wants somebody that bad, they will actually go after them and not be like a weirdo just hiding in the bushes with one eyeball peeking out. Okay, anyway, I just had to put that out there. So what else? Yeah, but I will leave a link to my Valentine's Day video if I can remember, but if I don't, it's just on my YouTube. Just go look at it. Okay, so on the 15th, the moon goes into Sagittarius. It's like late at night here in the west coast of the U.S., and it's into the next day of the 16th if you're east of that. Moon and Sag days, the mood, oh my gosh, it's just, I love Moon and Sag days. Sagittarius energy is about optimism and being happy and just really believing in yourself, believing in others, being a motivational speaker towards yourself or others. That inner motivational speaker comes out, boy, when Moon is in Sag, and like trying to give advice to other people. Just trying not to be too preachy, too preachy towards other people and holier than thou, and like, if I can do it, you can do it too. Just remember, everybody's different. And not everybody has that natural sense of optimism. And a lot of people do suffer from having a lot of like fear and doubt and stuff like that. And it's harder for them to pull themselves out of that than others. So keep that in mind when the moon's in Sag. Don't be like, oh, just turn that frown upside down and it's just that simple. Like, no, it's not that simple, Sag. Okay. But you can still give people encouragement and enlightenment and just try to brighten up the mood when the moon is in Sag. People may be a little bit more adventurous, daredevil energy, just wanting to jump and fly and just do. And we've got the moon in fire. We've got Mars in fire for a little bit longer. And then we've got Venus in fire, just all this fire in the sky. Like, oh, it's just dope. I love it. So good days for taking action, but the impulsivity of it all, which could lead to stupidity, to be quite honest with you guys. It's like high, like the levels of it are high. Like, jumping and doing something dumb, bonking your head and being like, oh, that was dumb. I shouldn't have done that. Oh, well, but did I die though? That's totally Moon and Sag paired with Mars and Sag, Venus and Aries energy. So don't be reckless this weekend. Valentine's weekend, people could be reckless. And, they always say that don't get knocked up on Valentine's Day because then you create Scorpios. Because, you do the math, 9 months. February is the second month. 2 plus 9 is 11. And so that's November. That could be Scorpio. Whatever. But hey, if you don't want any new little Scorpios coming about, just be careful this weekend because there's a lot of fire. There's the moon in Scorpio and then, the moon in fire and all this Venus and Mars in fire. Just like, just be careful. Okay. We're all adults here. You can use your little dirty imagination of what this can bring. But it's very passionate energy though. Passionate for just going after things, your goals, getting things done and accomplished with a higher level of faith, that things are going to turn out in your favor. But just don't have too much blind faith to where you do have some actions taken that lead to like really negative consequences and you just didn't think about it because you just didn't care. You're just so in the moment, just flying, not even thinking. So leaping before you look is definitely a theme of the weekend once the moon goes into Sag and we've got, other planets in fire. Excuse me. And then the next day, February 16th. So we do have the moon is still in Sag, the rest of the weekend. Beautiful energy. People tend to have a better sense of humor when the moon's in Sagittarius, not take everything up the butt talks so hard, and jokes and memes fly around a lot more and people can actually take them when the moon is in Sagittarius. So having a good laugh, like laughing until your tummy hurts and it's like, oh my God, like that type of laughing is all like moon and Sag days are really good for that. That's like a Sag vibe and a mood. Excuse me, but what else? That's pretty much the vibe. Now the Mars goes into Capricorn. Sorry, Mercury retro moment. Mars goes into Capricorn on February 16th. So what does this mean? Well, Mars, it rules us taking action, like our drive, our physical drive, and how we go after things. Do we just jump after them or do we strategize and plot and wait a little bit and then jump? Do we go fast after things? Are we slow with it? How do we operate? That's Mars. How do we execute? That's Mars, right? So it moves out of Sagittarius, which could have been reckless and like, I'm just going to do this and just jump and believe and hope that I don't fall to the ground with no parachute because I was a dummy and I forgot to check and make sure I had one. That could be Mars and Sagittarius. but now it's into Capricorn, which is more strategic. Capricorn is one of the signs that rules the military. Mars is one of the planets that rules the military as well. So people's attitudes can become a little more militant when Mars is in Capricorn. I do recall working for 2 Capricorn bosses, which I always tell you guys about that because that was the last like super corporate-y job I worked at. And I have stories for days about my corporate world periods in my life, okay? Especially working for Capricorns, boy. You guys could be just too much. Too much. Anyway, I remember like I worked for these Capricorn bosses and my coworkers knew I was an astrologer, but they were just very mercurial and didn't really give a shit. They cared more about gossip and the day-to-day and the moment than like astrology and analyzing data, like patterns and behavior and time and all that. They didn't really care, but they knew what I did, and sometimes I would kind of give them a little insight here and there. And I remember I told them I saw Mars was creeping up on being in the sign of Capricorn. As a matter of fact, was this 2 years ago or it was 4 years ago? I think it was 4 years ago. So I was telling them like, yo, look, and both of our Cappy bosses were ex-military. They were older, like in their 50s, so it had been a while, but they were ex-military. And people who are Caps who are ex-military, even if they're at a desk job, they will treat it like they're still in the military sometimes. And I warned my coworkers, look, this period coming up, they may start acting more militant. Okay, sure. And they were just like, oh, blah, 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 with all their like cackling and chatter, whatever, right? Didn't think much of it. Then we had this meeting. Soon as Mars went into Cap, y'all, I'm not even joking. They called a meeting and they were just like pacing around and pointing out this and pointing out that, and then bringing up military strategies. Well, when I was in the military, we did it like this, and so we're gonna start doing this, and you guys are doing this wrong, and we're gonna fix this, and blah, blah, blah. And one of my coworkers literally turned to me all googly-eyed with their mouth open, and I was just like, wink and gun, I told you, Susan. Her name wasn't really Susan, but all names shall be anonymous. You know what I'm saying, to protect cackling hens. I worked with anyway. So I was like, didn't I tell you guys after the post meeting that we had? I was like, didn't I tell you guys? I told you guys, right? Like, I hate to say I told you so, but Tauruses, we kind of like to do that. I told you so. Oh my God. I'm like, yeah, I told you guys. So we need to really be on our A game for the next few weeks, okay? Because I ain't trying to hear all this military crap, okay? Like, this is an office accounting job. Come on now, man. So I just thought that was interesting, and I thought I'd share. And you guys know I can ramble, but hey, my stories, they apply, all right? At least they apply. So with all that being said, Mars going into Capricorn, people's attitudes, especially people who maybe they have a military background, or they're just militant individuals, or they are Capricorn rules people in high positions of power and authority, and they may be more authoritative and expressing that power. One thing that I can say that Mars and Cap may bring about is abuse of power from some of those people. And Mars does rule conflict. So some people who are recognizing that people are abusing their power, they will also have the ability, the drive to fight back and be like, nah. It could be like fighting against the establishment. Capricorn is the establishment, but Mars is fighting. So some people can be fighting to keep a hold of the establishment, keep it established. And then others can be more gravitating towards, no, let's fight the establishment. Like, why is this and why is that, and how come we can't change the rules, or yada yada yada, So it can go either way, but honestly, yeah, it's mostly like putting more structure. Like, your actions are going to be aimed more towards putting structure in your life, disciplining yourself or others. Just don't be Capricorn energy could be about punishment. So don't be like petty and punishing people and, I told you so. Like, yeah, I know earth signs love to say I told you so, but like, don't use this energy towards bad. I know that was like stupid of me to say because I'm like really trying to find the words. Use it more for good, for positive, like helping people to get their shit together, you getting your own life and being more structured with things, more disciplined with things, more step by step, left, right, instead of all over the freaking place. Like when Mars was in Sag, it could have been more clumsy, you know what I'm saying? And just like, I'm going this way, but now I'm going this way. And now I don't know where I'm going and I don't care. And I'm not going to tell nobody where I'm going. I may go ghost on y'all and then just go my own, do my own thing and then pop up and be like, yo, what's good? But Mars and Cap is like, no, I have to be consistent. I have to be accountable and I have to let people know where I'm going and what I'm doing and what they're supposed to be doing and blah, 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 right? So that's how we can be executing things over the next several weeks. Let's see, Mars is in Cappy until, did I write this down? Yeah, until March 30th. So from February 16th until March 30th. So for a whole month and a half, he's in the sign of Cappy. Okay. So lastly, I will talk about Mercury retrograde. Okay. So I think I went in on Mercury retrograde last week. So if you want to rewatch, even though it's a little outdated now, my apologies, my bad. My February 2nd through the 9th forecast, I do talk more in depth and in detail about Mercury retrograde. Okay. So I'm not going to elaborate too much. I've already talked enough. But Mercury will actually go retrograde. It'll no longer be in its shadow period. It'll be full on retrograde starting on the 16th. Okay, let's see if we can pinpoint the hour using good old planetwatcher.com. Let's see. So once this turns, I think it turns red, like the little numbers of the degrees. Yeah, once it turns red, that's retrograde. Okay. Okay, so it looks like late afternoon, early evening on the west coast of the U.S. It could be late evening on the east coast of the U.S. and into the next day of the 17th in the eastern parts of the world. So that's when Mercury goes retrograde, and it is in a conjunction with Neptune, which can, yes, rule confusion, deception, and all of that jazz. So just be mindful of that. Just be aware of that. But Mercury conjunct Neptune, it can be extremely empathetic towards others. It can be extremely creative. There's some beautiful things about it. I know I did write up a whole post on my Instagram. I post more of my stories these days. Just, I don't know why, whatever. This is just what I do. But an actual post, go check it out. Go read it. And yeah, I did list a lot of more. It was more so like warnings, like forewarnings about Mercury retrograde and all that stuff, but that's just because of what's been really going on around me and what I've noticed from real human experiences. I wrote more based on that. I may write up a part 2 just with some more Mercury retrograde do's and don'ts and stuff like that. So go check that out too on my Instagram. I'm under Cosmic Homegirl, just like I am on here on the YouTube. Okay. But Mercury does go retrograde. It'll be retrograde in Pisces throughout the rest of the month of February. In March, it'll slip back into Aquarius for a few. It does go back into Aquarius for a little bit. And that is right at the beginning of March, March 3rd. It goes back into Aquarius for almost 2 weeks, right? And then it goes back into Pisces direct. March 16th, actually. And then it'll be in Pisces direct until April 11th. So we are dealing with Mercury in Pisces for a little while. As I mentioned before, Mercury in Pisces is not the most vocal Mercury sign, even though Mercury rules being verbal and vocal. Mercury in Pisces is not about that life. It's I know things, but I'm not going to say what I know. Or it just says things that they know, and people are what are your facts to back that up, Mercury in Pisces? And it's oh, I don't know, I just know it. And then people who are more earthy or mercurial or more practical will be well, I think you're a dumbass and you might just be making this up. So just be aware that that's kind of how communication can be a little shaky, But yeah, it's going retrograde starting on the 16th. So it's not like, oh my God, all of a sudden everything goes haywire. Shit's been going haywire, y'all. Okay, already. If I could post all these examples, I would. But some of them are personal to other people, and I'm just not going to do that. But just trust me when I say things have already been going haywire. So take the necessary precautions. Just remember, Mercury rules communication on our devices. That could be your smartwatch, your iPhone, your tablet, any type of phone. Actually, everybody has iPhones, so I just said iPhone. But your phones, your laptops, your computers, your phones at work, if there's a desk phone, systems that are put into place, utilized for communication, your devices that you use to watch television, if you have satellite, like, come on, like, the list goes on of what Mercury rules. Any of that stuff can go wrong. Your vehicles, driving, okay? Mercury retrograde is like high times for accidents to happen, like car accidents and stuff. So just keep that in mind, you guys. Drive safe out there, especially in confused ass Pisces with confusing, foggy Neptune in the mix. People could just not be paying attention, and like the dumbest accidents can happen. So just be aware of that. And also remember that Mercury retrograde is not just a time to hide your wife, hide your kids, hide your life, and be scared and paranoid of everything going wrong. It's a time of review, revise, and like if you make a mistake, like how I mentioned my coworker made earlier, maybe it's an opportunity for her to look at, why did this happen? Why did I make this error? And what can I do to avoid making this error in the future? So going back over, like listening to what she said, playing that broadcast back, and oh, this is what happened, and oh, like that could be something that is done a lot during Mercury retrograde. You will have to type things over again. You guys know I'm very creative, and I create little images and things with text on it and all that. I've had to redo and retype and read this and read that. Re is like, RE is like the prefix of retrograde. So just remember, there's just going to be a lot more of that, and you just got to try to have the patience, you guys. Rethinking, revising, retyping, resending, unsend, and resend if you can. Oof, that could save people's butts these days, boy. Having that resend option or retracting your message, oh my God. So there may be a lot more of that. So especially when Mercury goes retrograde, like it's just gonna kick more into high gear, even though it's already been going on. Okay. So anyway, you guys, that's a weekly forecast for the 9th through the 16th of February. Happy Valentine to those who celebrate. If you don't have a boo, it's cool. Do some self-love stuff, okay? Give yourself extra love on that day if you make a big ass deal about not having a Valentine. Look, you can have love on any day of the year. This is just one designated day that some fool made up a long time ago during freaking Aquarius season, for goodness sakes. Okay, so don't sweat it. Maybe when more energy goes into Pisces, the sun goes into Pisces, maybe you'll have more luck in the romance department, or whenever it's your time. Divine timing is always at work. Divine timing doesn't know anything about a motherfucking Valentine's Day, okay? It's about when people are supposed to be in your life and when they're not, based on you and your karma and your personal experiences and your energy and all of that. So don't let a calendar day dictate anything like that for you. Don't get your little draws in a bunch if you can't show them off for anybody on Valentine's Day, okay? Show them off for yourself in the mirror, girl or boy. So anyway, guys, I will see you guys next week. Have a good week, and I'll talk to you soon. All right, peace.
Can't wait to get home.